So far in the series, we have seen how Chandragupta founded the Maurya Empire, how Bindusara expanded its horizons and brought the subcontinent under one roof, and how Ashoka consolidated and institutionalized the empire. In this episode, we will be focusing on the last great Mauryan emperor, Ashoka, and his efforts at building a Dhamma State. To know more about how he transformed his vast empire, watch this episode. However, he faced a significant challenge in effectively communicating his teachings to such a diverse and widespread population. Traditional methods of disseminating information such as word of mouth or royal messengers were impractical for covering such vast distances and reaching every corner of his empire. These were inscriptions that were carved into natural rock faces, often in areas with natural shelters or caves. They consisted of monolithic polished sandstone pillars, often weighing many tons, that were quarried, transported, and then erected in prominent locations across Ashoka's empire. The pillars were not only impressive feats of engineering and logistics, but also served as powerful symbols of imperial authority and moral guidance. This reflects the multicultural nature of Ashoka's empire and his efforts to communicate with diverse populations across his domain. For example, the pillar edict at Shabatskari contains inscriptions in both Brahmi and Kharosthi scripts, demonstrating the importance of these languages in the region. If you want to learn more about ancient India, stay tuned for more updates. Until then, goodbye. Similarly, the pillar at Sanchi, located in present-day Madhya Pradesh, has inscriptions in Brahmi, Greek and Aramaic, highlighting the cosmopolitan character of Ashoka's court and his desire to connect with audiences beyond the borders of India. The process of creating a pillar edict involved several stages. This multilingual approach to communication was not only practical, but also reflected the intellectual and cultural atmosphere of Ashoka's court, which was renowned for its patronage of learning and the arts. The pillar edicts were not just a tool for governance, but also a testament to the cosmopolitan values and inclusive policies of Ashoka's reign. His use of multiple scripts celebrated the diversity of his empire and demonstrated his commitment to communicating with all of his subjects, regardless of their language or cultural background. First, the pillars had to be quarried and transported to their final destination, which often required skilled labor and specialized equipment. Once the pillars were in place, they were then polished and inscribed with Ashoka's edicts using advanced techniques and tools. The erection of these pillars was no easy task. It required significant manpower and resources to transport and raise these massive structures in remote locations across the empire. However, Ashoka's determination to spread his message of peace and morality to all corners of his domain drove him to invest in these monumental projects. The result was a series of towering structures that stood as silent witnesses to Ashoka's commitment to his Dhamma. The pillar edicts were not just a means of communication, but also a powerful symbol of Ashoka's rule. The sheer size and grandeur of the pillars commanded attention and respect, reminding all who saw them of the emperor's power and authority. At the same time, the polished surfaces and carefully inscribed messages conveyed a sense of order and sophistication, reflecting Ashoka's commitment to good governance and the pursuit of excellence. They were usually shorter and simpler than the pillar edicts, but no less important in their message and purpose. This iconic pillar, now India's national emblem, is located in the ancient city of Sarnath, where Buddha delivered his first sermon. The capital consists of a square abers at the top of a circular shaft, decorated with 4 lions seated back to back, each holding a wheel in their paws. The lions symbolize courage, strength, and the Buddhist concept of the lion's roar, representing the power of the Buddhist teachings. The presence of the lion capital in Sarnath highlights the importance of the site as a Buddhist pilgrimage destination and serves as a reminder of the deep connection between Buddhism and the Mauryan Empire. Another notable pillar edict is the one found at Lurya, near the modern-day Nepal border. This edict is significant because it contains the earliest known representation of the Bodhi tree, the tree under which Buddha attained enlightenment. The pillar is adorned with a detailed carving of the Bodhi tree, symbolizing the spread of Buddhism during Ashoka's reign and the importance of the tree as a sacred symbol in Buddhist tradition. This edict demonstrates the artistic skill of the sculptors and the deep understanding of Buddhist iconography during Ashoka's time. The rock edicts were designed to convey Ashoka's policies, moral teachings, and appeals for Dhamma to a wide audience. They were typically placed along major trade routes, near cities, or in other public spaces where they could be easily seen and read by travelers and locals alike. The placement of the rock edicts was no accident. By putting them up in places where people gathered or passed through, Ashoka ensured that his message would reach as many people as possible. This approach allowed him to communicate his ideas and policies to a diverse range of audiences, including merchants, pilgrims, and local rulers. For example, one rock edict located near the city of Shabatskari in modern-day Pakistan contains a bilingual inscription in Brahmi and Kharosthi scripts, indicating that it was intended to be read by those traveling between India and Central Asia. Similarly, another rock edict found at Humayun's tomb in Delhi was likely meant to be seen by merchants and traders along the important trade route between Delhi and Sapataraka. By tailoring his message to different audiences, Ashoka demonstrated his commitment to spreading his message of peace and morality to all corners of his empire. The rock edicts also played an important administrative role in Ashoka's empire. They served as a way for the emperor to communicate his policies and laws directly to the people, bypassing intermediaries and ensuring that his message was received accurately and consistently. This was particularly important in maintaining social order and promoting his brand of Dhamma across such a vast and diverse empire. Overall, the rock edicts were an important tool for Ashoka in spreading his message of peace and morality, connecting with diverse audiences throughout his empire, and ensuring effective communication across vast distances. This is when Ashoka had a brilliant idea. He decided to carve his messages directly onto natural rock faces and polished stone pillars that would serve as permanent and visible reminders of his teachings and edicts. This approach proved to be incredibly effective and enduring, allowing Ashoka to communicate his thoughts and policies to a wide audience across generations. Last time we saw how Ashoka realized the futility of war and violence after the Kalinga War and changed his approach to ruling his vast empire. He established a state that practiced and promoted Dharma. But as his empire stretched from Afghanistan to Bengal and from Bodh Gaya to the Deccan Plateau, effective communication across such a vast distance was a major challenge. There was no postal system or internet or mobile phones back then. So how did he keep everyone informed and ensure smooth functioning of his administration? They are known as the Rock Edicts and the Pillar Edicts. We will be discussing both of them in detail in this episode. But before we begin, don't forget to like this video if you enjoy hearing stories like this. Well, let's find out. In today's episode, we are going to discuss how Ashoka solved the problem of effective communication and built pillars of piety across his empire. Let's get started. After embracing Buddhism following the Kalinga War, Emperor Ashoka was eager to share his newfound faith and its message of peace and enlightenment throughout his vast realm. There are two types of inscriptions that were prepared during Ashoka's reign. First, let's talk about the Rock Edicts. Now let's talk about the Pillar Edicts. Unlike the Rock Edicts, which were carved into natural rock faces, the Pillar Edicts were more grand and elaborate. Let's take a closer look at some of the most famous Pillar Edicts, starting with the lion capital of Sarnath. One of the most interesting aspects of the Pillar Edicts is the use of various scripts, including Brahmi, Kharosthi, Greek and Aramaic. By using these various scripts, Ashoka was able to tailor his message to different audiences and ensure that his teachings and edicts were accessible to a wider range of people. We hope you enjoyed learning about the fascinating rock and pillar edicts of Emperor Ashoka.